Allie rightfully earned her place at the reunion. No disrespect to Brock, but Scheana hinted that he wasn't a paid cast member this season, correct? When Ariana mentioned Dan's limited filming in SF due to lack of payment, Scheana pointed out, well, neither was he, gesturing towards Brock. If that's the case, why does Mr. Dancing Pants get to partake in the entire reunion while Allie is only given a brief moment with Joe? Allie brings a refreshing honesty and strong self-worth to the table, qualities many young women aspire to. She has every right to occupy that stage for the duration of the event, sharing in the ups and downs like everyone else. #Justice for Allie. Allie also deserved a seat last year when she revealed Tom and Raquel's presence at the Abbey and confronted James about his inappropriate comment. After witnessing misogyny on the show for 11 seasons, it seems his seat at the reunion might be more about what's between his legs than his contribution. If he didn't get paid this season, he certainly worked hard to ensure a paycheck for the next. Bringing her out alongside Joe seems unfair. Allie has appeared in 2 seasons, resides with James, and is well connected with the girls, even earning Lisa's favor. She's on a completely different level than Joe. Absolutely. Allie had just as much screen time as Brock, if not more, and her insights were far more valuable. I also suspect Brock was compensated for this season. Perhaps not for every event like the main cast, but if he's truly unpaid, that's even more concerning. Why won't he find employment? Labeling Allie as not liking James because she doesn't want to rush into marriage seems presumptuous. Ariana and Tim were together for 9 years without marriage, and she's only 28. Only 2 people I know from my year at school are married by now. Allie openly calls out James' mistakes instead of excusing them like Rachel did for so long. In their scenes together, they appear comfortable, and I can envision Allie being true to herself both on and off camera. Until proven otherwise, she seems relaxed yet assertive. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Spill Chronicles. It's me, Ramona here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. However, if Ariana had engaged in a 7-month affair with James, neither the cast nor production would be pressuring Tom to engage in a conversation with her to repair her image. It's yet another instance highlighting the deeply rooted misogyny in our society. Women are constantly expected to forgive and forget, to be the bigger person. The cast seems to have conveniently overlooked the severity of the affair. The matching necklaces, the Halloween costume mimicking Raquel, and James sleeping with Raquel in their shared home while Ariana was mourning her grandmother. These actions are utterly despicable. The fact that Ariana even filmed with him is remarkable, surpassing what Stassi did with Jax in earlier seasons. Sexism is glaringly evident in how Katie is treated compared to Schwartz. Brock and LFU portrayed Katie's hookup with Max as the ultimate betrayal, insinuating that now she and Schwartz were even. But let's be real here. Schwartz violated their agreement not to engage with friends almost immediately and then tried to downplay its significance, while Schwartz himself has a history of infidelity throughout their marriage. So the notion of them being even is preposterous. A season supposedly celebrating female empowerment was handed to the producers, yet they fumbled it disastrously. They're accustomed to drama-driving ratings, but after a particularly dark previous season and off-season, showcasing happiness and joy, with drama taking a backseat, including the 2 Toms finally facing consequences, wouldn't have been a terrible idea for season 11. Regarding what Randall did to Lala, it's undeniably awful, regardless of one's opinions on her or his behavior patterns. The involvement of a child makes it an incredibly challenging situation. However, the circumstances differ significantly. Randall's actions didn't occur in their home, nor did they involve someone Lala considered a close friend and coworker. They didn't unfold clandestinely behind her back. Lala and Randall were together for around 6 years, with 3 of those years kept private due to Randall's ongoing divorce. The house they lived in belonged to him, not her. In contrast, Ariana and Tom have been together for 9 years, jointly owning a home, which complicates matters legally. While Lala's custody battle is also complex, if either Ariana or Tom were to leave the shared home, it could be construed as abandonment of property. Custody battles and property ownership are distinct challenges, both difficult to navigate but not equivalent. Tom is an original cast member, with Ariana joining soon after. Lala entered the show later, her partner remaining largely off-screen, providing limited insight into their relationship beyond surface-level appearances. Over 9 years, viewers have witnessed the highs and lows of Ariana and Tom's relationship on television, even if not every moment was showcased. While Lala may feel unsupported during her separation from Randall and ongoing custody battle, it's crucial to recognize the fundamental differences in their situations, leading to varied reactions and outcomes. On the other hand, Lala's response to Ariana's assertion about providing the best season ending deserves a closer look. Ariana, wasn't that a better season ending? Giving you another season for another paycheck. Lala, if I hadn't spoken my mind, it would have ended with you walking out the door. There's a lot to dissect in that statement alone. Lala seems to be taking credit after previously criticizing Ariana for not initiating the conversation. It's a bit contradictory, isn't it? It's hard to decipher what exactly she meant by that statement. It seems nonsensical. Am I the only one picking up on this? It's baffling me. Additionally, her claim is inaccurate. Sandoval probably would have only dug himself in deeper. Lala and Scheana tend to falter around an angry man. Both Toms seem to be suppressing grins whenever she speaks, because she's saying what they want to say, but without facing any consequences. Lala's outbursts and Scheana's nonchalant attitude drew all the attention, allowing the Toms to carry on goofing around consequence-free. Lala was particularly self-righteous this season. Her whole spiel about never meeting someone who gets cheated on and suddenly becomes saintly seemed like her projecting her own insecurities about not being in the spotlight. She acted holier than thou to justify her spot on the show because, let's face it, what does she really bring to the table anymore? Not much. She can't vent about Rand due to legal implications, can't feature her kid on the show, thankfully, and frankly, she's just not interesting. Her relevance is dwindling, which might be fine for an average person, but for someone on a reality show, it's problematic. I've mentioned this before, but I genuinely hope Ariana and Katie leave VPR. Let Lala and Scheana fend for themselves in terms of bringing in a paycheck. They'll likely crash and burn, then resort to complaining about everything to stay in the spotlight. Lala truly marred the season's ending. It should have concluded with Ariana stepping out into the night with her charming boyfriend and best friends, laughing and enjoying themselves. Cut to Sandoval, unhappy, ranting, self-pitying, and deceitful. That would have been the perfect end to his storyline. But instead, we got a self-absorbed tirade from Lala, bemoaning how Ariana was doing better than her. It had nothing to do with the ensemble cast narrative or concluding Sandoval's arc within the VPR show. Her rant was solely about herself and her breakup with Rand, a topic she never honestly addressed on the show. She not only ruined the final, but also the reunion, much like she did last year, shouting about matters that weren't her concern. She's the cast member lacking organic connections with the rest and devoid of a compelling storyline of her own. The audacity to claim she provided a better ending than Ariana thriving on her own terms is astounding. Let's hope we don't see Lala back in season 12. Moreover, the show's survival in its current form hinges on one crucial move: Lauren being let go. Now, considering that producers seem unwilling or unable to sideline Scheana and Lala on the Valley, we must explore how the show could progress without either firing Alex Baskin, unlikely, or overhauling the cast, too risky after a failed season. Despite the cast divisions, most have enough history and mutual interests to film together for a paycheck, except for Lauren. She lacks genuine connections with the group and disrupts the progress of others' relationships with her constant interference. Remove her from the equation, and the show can continue. Take, for instance, the dynamics between Scheana and Ariana. Ariana now knows that Scheana prioritizes money over their friendship, yet she could maintain a superficial, arm's-length relationship with Scheana for the sake of the show. Without Lala around, Scheana could offer a tearful apology, which Ariana might accept with indifference, before they embark on mundane activities like shopping. The dynamic between Scheana and Katie has always been strained. Without Lala's protective shield, Katie could freely call out Scheana's antics. Scheana's attempts to cozy up to Ariana through Katie would provide ample comedic fodder. Regarding James, Ally, and Lala, James likely attempted to support Lala without fully endorsing her behavior out of respect for their friendship. However, James and Ally would benefit from distancing themselves from Lala's meddling. Scheana's efforts to normalize relations between Katie, Ariana, and herself could aid in this endeavor. Scheana would still serve as a bridge between the male and female cast members, but her antics would be met with indifference rather than drama. Schwartz and Katie's reunion at the reunion suggests potential for reconciliation, while Ariana's tentative reconnection with Schwartz could pave the way for group scenes. Lala's departure would eliminate the disruptive element preventing the show from settling back into its usual rhythm. Without her monopolizing the narrative, the focus could return to the organic dynamics within the group. It's evident from the post-reunion discussions that Lala dominates the conversation. However, her prominence doesn't necessarily secure her spot on the show. Ultimately, a season without Ariana would be catastrophic, and her return would likely necessitate significant concessions from producers. Letting go of Lala could be the least risky path forward for Vanderpump Rules as we know it. In essence, the show's future relies on removing Lala and restoring balance to the ensemble cast's dynamics. Additionally, regarding Alex Baskin's recent messaging, there's been a noticeable uptick in sentiments echoing Alex Baskin's claims about the Vanderpump Rules audience. Initially mentioned by Baskin before the reunion and later echoed by Lala during the event, these views are now becoming more prevalent on platforms like Reddit, particularly in the condemnation of viewers who support Ariana. However, blaming the audience for aligning with Ariana and influencing other cast members' behavior is misguided. The cast members are seasoned reality TV personalities who have been subject to online scrutiny for years. Any shifts in their behavior are ultimately their own responsibility. While social media has undoubtedly intensified the spotlight on these shows, romanticizing a time of less criticism overlooks the harsh realities of the past. In previous decades, reality stars faced brutal public backlash, with tabloids relentlessly critiquing their lives and behaviors. Blogs and online comments were rife with harsh judgments, often laced with misogyny and homophobia. Yet, the reality TV industry thrived, producing compelling content in spite of, or perhaps even because of, the chatter. Although social media today allows for more direct and toxic interactions, cast members can mitigate this by privatizing their accounts or limiting comments. Additionally, societal standards have evolved, and we no longer tolerate the same level of public shaming. The division and heightened emotions driven by social media are not unique to Vanderpump Rules. They are pervasive throughout society, from politics to niche hobby communities. Bravo shows have weathered numerous scandals and divisive fandoms, such as Teresa versus Melissa on the Real Housewives franchise. Therefore, the current support for Ariana is not uniquely disruptive to the show. This narrative appears to be a deflection from Alex Baskin, who seems to struggle with adapting to changing times. Last year, it was the season of redemption, and now it's blamed the audience. Lala's reinforcement of this flawed narrative only exacerbates the issue. Ultimately, the audience is not the problem. It's the show's failure to adapt to evolving dynamics. As for Lauren's role in dictating behavior based on reading the comments throughout the season and reunion, this narrative fails to hold water. Making Lauren the villain was the show's first and fatal flaw, as she lacks the characteristics necessary to be a compelling reality TV antagonist. On the other hand, from Stassi's recent podcast, in a recent episode of her podcast, Stassi discussed a viral incident involving Kelly Rowland and security staff at Cannes. She praised Rowland as the epitome of setting boundaries and standing up for oneself. Stassi emphasized the importance of personal boundaries and the right to choose what is accepted or rejected in one's life. She articulated that setting boundaries isn't about controlling others, but rather about asserting one's own actions and decisions. If someone crosses a boundary, the individual has the right to walk away from the situation. Stassi suggested looking to Kelly Rowland as inspiration for setting boundaries. While Stassi didn't explicitly mention specific individuals or situations from Vanderpump Rules, it's evident that her remarks could be interpreted as commentary on recent events within the cast. Many listeners speculated that her words were directed towards certain cast members, particularly in light of ongoing tensions. Stassi's strategic approach to addressing the topic likely stems from a desire to avoid getting entangled in unnecessary drama while still expressing her support for certain individuals. She's adept at reading the room and understanding how her words will be received by her audience. Furthermore, she's likely aware that certain cast members lack the courage to challenge her stance. Overall, Stassi's remarks serve as a subtle way of sharing her perspective on the situation without directly involving herself in the conflict. Her calculated approach demonstrates her savvy navigation of PR optics and her ability to convey her support without becoming embroiled in unnecessary controversy. Moreover, in the Secrets Revealed episode, viewers witnessed a more likable side of the cast, where they genuinely seemed to enjoy each other's company. Many fans expressed a desire for more of these lighthearted, fun moments to be showcased on the show. Contrary to the notion that reality shows need constant drama to be entertaining, audiences crave a balance of fun and drama, with the emphasis on the former. In today's world, filled with darkness and negativity, viewers yearn for the escapism provided by lighthearted content. Unfortunately, this season seemed to prioritize overproduced drama and biased portrayals, neglecting the authentic and unscripted moments that made the show resonate with audiences in the past. Evolution and Bravo's failure to adapt to changing viewer preferences has left them out of touch with their audience. The audience has evolved alongside the show, growing out of the identification with the cast's youthful antics, and instead gravitating towards more relatable and mature individuals like Ariana and Katie. These two represent the direction the show should take, acknowledging the absurdity of the cast's behavior while treating the audience with respect and intelligence. A perfect example of this approach is Ariana's "I'm a Gray Rock" confessional, which humorously acknowledges the absurdity of the cast's actions while signaling to the audience that they're in on the joke. As viewers continue to watch the antics of certain cast members, they crave more moments of self-awareness and humor from the likes of Katie, Ariana, James, and Ally, who serve as a refreshing contrast to the show's more immature characters. On the other hand, in the concluding moments of Part 3, both Lala and Scheana admit to not being authentic or real. Scheana confesses her reluctance to speak her mind due to fear of others' reactions, particularly Lala's, while Lala expresses a desire to end the pretense, hinting at her own disingenuous behavior. It's evident that Lala enjoys taking digs at Katie, accusing her of being a bobblehead for Ariana. However, When faced with resistance from Katie, Lala storms off, showcasing her hypocrisy. Scheana's attempt to appease Lala and hype her up as her rock only highlights the desperation she feels, eliciting sympathy from viewers. Lauren's desire to live her real life now seems to stem from a desire to dislike Katie and Ariana without fear of judgment. Her envy of the support Ariana receives compared to herself fuels this resentment, revealing her true motivations. During the confrontation, Scheana's refusal to comfort Ariana while coddling Lauren exposes her true loyalties. It's a stark reminder of the show's tendency to vilify women to protect the men, with Lala unwittingly falling into this trap orchestrated by producers. Scheana's declaration of Lala as her rock feels forced, a desperate attempt to salvage the only friendship she has left within the group. However, Lala's manipulative behavior paints her as an abusive friend, trapping Scheana in a corner and isolating her from the rest of the group. As Lala's list of enemies grows, Scheana faces the dilemma of blindly following her and risking alienation from the friend group. Lala's inability to maintain friendships suggests a rocky road ahead for Scheana if she continues to align herself with her. However, why Andy didn't question Sandoval about his controversial comments at the end of the final remains a perplexing omission, especially considering how other cast members faced scrutiny for their actions. Ariana, for instance, was grilled for not fully engaging in a conversation, while Sandoval seemed to escape accountability for his remarks, which would have seemingly nullified the conversation in question. Furthermore, Sandoval was never pressed on why he consistently lied during the last reunion, particularly regarding the nature of his interactions with Rachel. This glaring inconsistency in questioning reflects poorly on the show's integrity and treatment of its audience. The truth behind this lack of inquiry may lie in the deeply scripted and manipulated nature of the season. Reality shows often adhere to a predetermined theme and storyline, with producers actively shaping narratives both before and during filming. In the case of Vanderpump Rules, it's apparent that a specific storyline was crafted prior to filming, with efforts made to guide cast members' behavior and interactions to fit this predetermined narrative. The overtly produced and scripted nature of this season is evident, with efforts to manipulate audience perception and reactions. The inclusion of Sandoval's comments in the episode, followed by their deliberate use during the reunion, serves as a nod to the audience regarding Ariana's vindication, while simultaneously fueling conflict and emotional moments. Had Andy confronted Sandoval directly about these inconsistencies, it might have exposed the extent of production's manipulation and potentially jeopardized the show's credibility. Instead, any attempts to address these issues were carefully orchestrated, with minimal risk to the established narrative. While Andy did eventually question Sandoval on Watch What Happens Live, this occurred weeks after the reunion, allowing ample time for narratives to be crafted and defenses to be prepared, ultimately shielding production from accountability. Additionally, if only Lala could muster the courage to apologize and take genuine accountability, perhaps she could earn a measure of grace from the audience. Her current predicament is well-deserved, especially considering her former portrayal as Ariana's close friend. As a former fan, I once enjoyed her presence, but her recent actions, particularly her disregard for fans and her blatant prioritization of financial gain, have left a sour taste. There's potential for redemption if Lala acknowledges her mistakes, offers sincere apologies, and commits to addressing her racism and ceasing her harmful behavior. However, given the lack of accountability within this cast, it's uncertain if she'll take this necessary step. The challenge lies in the extent of Lala's missteps, which may make any attempts at redemption seem insincere to many. Personally, I find it difficult to extend her another chance, as her actions have exposed her as disingenuous and willing to betray those she claims to care about for personal gain. Lala's treatment of Ariana this season, devoid of any remorse or consideration, is particularly reprehensible. At this point, her best option may be to embrace her role as the show's villain, as she has shown no indication of genuine remorse or change. In a similar vein, both Tim and Lauren share a commonality in their reluctance to accept full accountability for their actions. Instead, they resort to playing the victim and deflecting blame. It's this refusal to acknowledge wrongdoing that has contributed to their current status as the most disliked male and female on the show. Without the capacity for self-reflection and accountability, it's unlikely they'll see a shift in public perception anytime soon. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.